Good morning from me. I have to go to Dorset. We are at Precoat in Granite City. This is Precoat. I gotta pick up Precoat. That's why it's Precoat. I'll show you what a Precoat is. Geezer on this with this kind of stoker. Oh. Geezer with this kind of stoker, he's got Precoat on. That right there is Precoat. That's what they use for making gutters and that, roofing, basically. This old boy Central States. I said to him, you still running Cummins in them Volvos? And he's like, nah, they're running Volvo motors in them now. I said, oh. He goes, yeah, they got a heap of there's Precoat there, that old geezer. It's one of Mercer's boys. Got to do it in the wind, mate. So the wind will blow shit around all over the place, which is awesome. You can't tarp inside, you've got to tarp outside. So of course the wind's going to go very, very much, and you're going to be like very, very much as the wind blows your shit away. But I lost my mirror as well. Look, can you see that right there? See that? See where I lost my feckin' mirror? It fell out. Well, my conversations were always all over the place. When entering an accident, Precoat metals, load or unloading bay, each coil shall be secured. It's necessary in order to prevent the loss of the load during movement. When parked in the loading or unloading bay, set your parking brake and chock your wheels to prevent movement. When using loading docks, secure dot locks and chock wheels. Notice, all you wankers, because we don't like you, must wear one of these hideous things on your face. Not anymore though, because they don't bother with that, but they still got the signs up everywhere. And they're still locked in their office like they're little mice in a cage, scared you might give them a disease. But where was I at? I was somewhere I was somewhere, loves. Oops, I was somewhere. Yeah, so anyway, I left out of Oklahoma the other day on my way to Indianapolis. I didn't record any videos. The Alabama chief got a hold of me, and I was going to record, but then Alabama chief called me, so I ended up yarning with that geezer. So I ended up yarning with Alabama. I got to Indianapolis, and geezer there was all right. He was a geezer. He was funny. So I got there, and we yarned for a little bit. I got asked if I was an Australian, because I sound like an Australian. So we had a convo, and that was it's always entertaining. I love meeting people. I think that's one of the things I really love about this job. I love the fact that I get to travel and I get to see so many different places, and I love this country for the fact that it has so many different opportunities around that you get to see. And this job at times can wear you out, can get you down, but you gotta bounce back and be positive and see everything around you for a more positive attitude and a better way. And I meet a lot of good people. I always do meet good people. I've met some assholes, I've met some wankers, but I just become an asshole and a wanker back when they're like that. So I met this geezer yesterday, and you wouldn't change his views. You could tell that. He was good to talk to, but you're not going to change his views. And his views are his views, and his points are his points. And he was a very, very, very religious person, super religious. And I'm not that way inclined. I believe in my beliefs, as in just how I see things. He was super, 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 super religious. Holy crap. I mean, just wow. And you can't convince people when they're that far into it. They believe everything that's written in word, and they say they abide by it, but most of the time you'll find they don't 100% abide by it, because you can't, we're human. But it was entertaining. And we chatted about some bits and pieces, and about how the human race is destroying the world, planet, whatever you want to call it, the flat earth. But anyway, he was on a tangent, and you couldn't convince him different, that, you know, in many aspects of everybody has a different view of how they see stuff. You can take it as gospel by the way people explain stuff to you, whether it's through a station that provides news to you by a couple of geezers or females, whichever way you want to look at it. Geezers are geezers, no matter what you are, you're all geezers. But you look at it like that, and you can take their word as gospel and believe everything they say, or you can choose to see it from a different point of view. And everybody's got a view, and everybody's going to have a view, and everybody's going to believe they're right, and everybody's going to believe you're wrong. And sometimes you meet people that will look at stuff in a certain way and see it on both sides of the coin rather than one side of the coin, and they'll stand in the center of the bridge rather than one end of the bridge. So I like people of all aspects, whether they're one side of the bridge or in the center of the bridge. It doesn't matter. It gives me an understanding. It makes me see things from a different perspective at times. But you can't change their ways, and when you can't change their ways, it is what it is. So there was a lady I met in California. I think I already explained that story, but that lady was the same way. When I was down there and waiting to get loaded at the City of Industry with that steel, that lady she was an awesome lady. I thoroughly enjoyed conversating with her, but she was not going to change her views. Her views were very, 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 very set in her ways of seeing things through her eyes, as how it's been shown to her, that you accept it for what it is and you're not going to change it. And I think a lot of people have a lot of hatred for a previous person who may be a narcissistic wanker in some people's eyes. He may be an egotistical maniac in other people's eyes, but if you really sat back and saw what was going on, and can still see what's going on all around us, around the world, you realize that he's not quite so egotistical. I mean, he's always going to be a narcissist. It's just the way it is. But I don't always agree or disagree with what they have to say. But sometimes I look at their perspective of how they're trying to accomplish stuff. And if it's for the great of good, and it's going to help an abundance rather than a minimum, then I'm all for it. And I feel that we're going further and further down a well, and that well we go further and further down is becoming darker and darker, and there's not so much water at the end of it. It's gonna hurt when we hit it, and we need to step up to the plate and realize that we're being taken for a ride. And there's a lot of people that refuse to accept that. So now we've got all these new stories appearing out of nowhere about all these different bits and pieces. And the hardest part is that with Useless is very good at knocking you back. So Useless won't allow certain things. They got people that check you out and programs that watch what words you use or how you say stuff. So Useless is really good at screwing you over. They did it to a lot of good people. Yeah, I don't have a cold, it's just cold outside, so I'm snotty. But Useless is good at knocking you back, and there's plenty of other platforms out there. But the problem with the other platforms is they get recognized as being too far one side and not far enough to the other side. And then you get classed as a conspiracy, and then conspiracy becomes that you're an idiot, and then an idiot becomes that we don't want to listen to you. And the trouble is those idiots and those conspiracies are actually 100% spot on. There's a lot of doctors, there's a lot of nurses, there's a lot of people in good standing business that have been knocked. And is a big word, isn't it? Gets used a lot by humans. But there's a lot of them that have been knocked back for speaking their minds, saying the truth. And the truth hurts, and that's the trouble. Is like just lately the truth has become a lie, and a lie has become a truth. So the truth spoken is now classed as a lie, and a lie spoken is now classed as a truth. And if you can't decipher between the two, if you are pushed into a corner and fed a narrative, and that narrative that you believe is 100% true, you're not going to change your mind. It matters not how much you think what they're telling you is the truth. Most of the time it's been twisted so much. Chinese whispers, I always remember at school when we were kids, they would teach us Chinese whispers. I believe in America they call it something different. I think Jennifer told me once, explained it to me what they call it. I can't remember, but I just remember that as a kid I was taught at school Chinese whispers. So you would say something to one person, and then you'd say it to the next person, and it would go around the whole class, and by the time it came back to the teacher, what was very first wrote down and said, when it gets back, was absolutely nothing like what was being said. Now, there is people out there that will manipulate the truth, and there's people out there that will tell the truth, which you've got to be able to figure it out for yourself. And a lot of people don't want to do that. They don't. Want is such a word, man. I've never accepted that word, and I have to use it at times because it became part of my vocabulary. But I want. It's like I can't handle that word at times. But people have chose to see things on such a narrative that if you try and show them anything different, it's not going to happen. And that's where we are around the world now. We have an abundance of those that have been put in charge all around the world in various different places that have been shown an agenda, and that agenda is what they believe is the far forward to save humanity. And I don't think we're really out to save humanity. I think we're out to destroy humanity. And you can see that in people. That people just seem so broken at the moment. The more you look around you, the more you can see people are broken. Their spirits have been broken. They feel worthless and useless. And that's such a sad thing to see. It really is such a sad thing to see. but you can see it. You can. That's a gosh damn nice Peterbilt, man. I like Peterbilts. I just don't always like the people that drive them. That's just me though. Some of them are good boys and some of them just think their shit don't stink. But hey ho, good place to stop as well. Nice one, good job, park right there, good job. He's a smart man. He's parked right next to the building because that wind will hopefully slow it down while he tries to throw a tarp. Oh, he's a smart lad. He's not silly at all. No, excuse me. But yeah, so I've noticed that a lot, that a lot of people are broken, a lot of spirits have been broken. It's like you try and make somebody, I love just to make somebody smile if I can, or just make them laugh, because I believe that we've lost that so much. We've lost that ability to make people feel good about themselves, and that's such a shame. It's like every day you should make somebody feel good about themselves. If you see somebody that looks a little down, try cheering them up just a little. Sometimes you can turn them around by doing that. A lot of people just want to be listened to, just want to be heard, and they're not, and they're being ignored, and that sucks. Because a lot of people just choose to be seen, even if they don't believe that they're of any worth. And I think everybody's of worth. I think everybody deserves a place in this world. Everybody deserves a chance, and everybody deserves to be able to go forward in life. And it's like trying to build an empire. A lot of people believe they can't build an empire. You can build any empire you want. You've just got to have motivation and positivity, and there's a lot of people don't have motivation and positivity. It's been taken away from them. So it's a shame. There's a camera out there looking at me, by the way. Up there on that wall there's a camera. I believe I have to sit out here and wait, and they come and get me when they're ready. I sure hope that's true, because there's one in front of me. He pulled in, he had a Kenworth T600, I think it was. He's got a Conestoga. I believe he was in front of me getting loaded. Anyway, I started this video off by rambling. Sometimes I feel like rambling. It's just my words. It has no bearing really. It's just my words. It's just how I see stuff. I just really feel that we've human race has become a lost cause in itself, because we accept so much that's thrown at us, and we shouldn't be that way. The United States of America has become a melting pot full of yes people, and America was never built on yes people. America strived on being rebellious, and there is not so many rebels in this country anymore, and it's a shame. It's a shame that we don't have so many rebels. I think rebellion is a great way to move forward. And of course, when you talk about rebellion and you talk about rebellious people, then they think that means you're lawless, and that's not true. Rebellion just means that you go against anybody trying to force a narrative on you that they believe is their righteous way. It's like people keep going on about how the Orange Man predicts himself to be a messiah and a god, and you can look at it any way you want. A lot of people will agree with that. I don't agree with that. The man just wants to be accepted for believing that he done right in helping the people of a country. And so, of course, he gets knocked for that on a continuous basis. And if you speak about the Orange Man in a certain way, then you get classed as being a cult tard, and you're part of his little MAGA group, as they like to put it. It's not true. It's not true. As I know a lot of people that, or I've talked to a lot of people that don't think he's a great person in some aspects, but think he's good for other aspects, and I get their point. But we have a lot of people now that believe that they are a god in respects, and they think that they are, you know, better than everybody else, and if you don't abide by their rules and by their ways, then you don't deserve to be in this world anymore. And that's where we go. Depression and suicide and the ability to make people feel like shit has become the norm now, and that needs to be turned around. Depression is a massive cult following in this world now. It's like depression become the first thing that everybody wants to get on that bus. So them buses of depression are huge, and it's wrong because they've pushed people down that path and they believe that's the right path to walk. Suicide is enormous. Suicide is just, it's rife. It's horrible how suicide has just taken over. People are willing to just take their own lives because they've been forced to believe that there's nothing else out there for them, and it's so untrue. And it's hard to take a person that's got that far into themselves to believe that the only way out of this is to commit suicide. It's hard to turn that person back around, and we don't have enough strong people in this world anymore who are willing to help somebody that feels that way. We don't. We've lost that. We got people now that are like, well, if you want to commit suicide, then go ahead, end your life. It's like, no, that's not right. It's not right. So we have an abundance of people now, like these so-called, I have never had any time for them, so-called people that believe that they are psychiatrists or shrink, whatever, I don't know, whichever word you want to use. But basically I have no time for those people because they don't go out of their way to really help anybody. I remember watching Abigail. I can't say watching, I remember being told and sort of listening, and how Abigail's supposed psychiatrist that was, or shrink or whatever you want to call it, that was helping our Rose, supposedly had no intentions of helping our Rose, didn't do anything to give her a better understanding of stuff. Just sort of like, oh well, if that's how you feel, then that's great. Yeah, anyway, let me go back to my phone because my phone's more important than talking to you. So I will never agree with that. I think positivity comes from each and every one of us being able to give a better vibe towards others. If you see somebody that's a little down, then trying to help them stand back up on their feet again and make them feel good about themselves. It can be a hell of a journey to walk, but if you can get at it and you can walk it with them, you'll be amazed at how much that person will turn themselves around. All you're doing is basically encouraging them to see themselves for who they really are, because that's how you see them. But we don't do that anymore. A person feels down in the dumps or just feels that they're of no use anymore to this world. They're like, all right, well, yeah, that's how you are, so fuck it, see you later then, yeah, goodbye. Here's some more medication to help you feel more shit about yourself. And that really pisses me off, that medication is just like the abundance of shit that people are put on now, the abundance of pills that people are forced to take to make themselves feel worse than they was before. It's like, if you can convince anybody that you know to come off of whatever it is that they're on, you have to work at that. You have to work at that. You got to get them off all that godforsaken crap that these people are giving them, because doctors are not all of them, but there's a majority of doctors now that are not out there to help anybody. They just keep forcing this stuff down their throats. Yep, take another 16 pills a day and you'll be just fine. That's bullshit, man. It's bullshit. All it does is cloud your judgment, fogs your brain, and it basically eats away at your insides and just makes you feel like you are worthless. And I keep saying it and I'll keep saying it. There's no human in this world that's worthless. Every one of us has a reason to be here. We all have a journey, and each one of us needs to understand that that journey is a meaning for somebody else, one way or another. But it does suck. It does suck. I don't know how long I'm going to be out here, by the way. I don't know. I don't know if I just sit out here and wait for the geezer to come and get me, or what I do. I think they guide you in, so I hope so. Guess we'll find out, right? But anyway, I'm waffling. I haven't waffled for a long time. I feel sometimes I just would like to say many different things. It's like the word influencer, you know. It's like, oh, you're an influence now. It's like, oh, define influence, man. Not me. I'm talking about like these channels out there that have an abundance of people that follow them, and you become an influence. And it's like, I find that people that become what they class as an influence, that they have a channel that has mass followings and they get out there and they do stuff, I find sometimes they get a little wrapped up in believing that they are a messiah now, you know. I'm a god now because I got all these people following me, and then it gets just out of context, and they forget where they came from, and they forget what the meaning of it was and how they started, which is why a lot of channels end up falling apart, because you forget where you're at. It's like, I don't believe a channel should be made where you build your lifestyle and your income up around you becoming an influence to other people. I don't understand that. It's not that I don't agree with it, I just don't understand that you believe that you being seen on a screen makes it that you should have monetary funds for that, because you believe you're doing a justice for other people. I get it if you are, and it stays that way. But when greed overcomes and you allow greed to take over, you are not of worth anymore to those people that you were supposedly helping. And I've seen people that have started off good and they've helped people, and their words of positivity and their encouragement is amazing. And then you realize that as time goes on, it eats away at them, and then they become depressed and they become suicidal, and it becomes too much for them. So they're trying to build and build and build this platform, and they build a platform, but then it becomes too much for them, because anybody that believes that Hollywood is full of glitter and rainbows and unicorns is a complete fucking idiot. You would never want that lifestyle, man. How could you choose to have a lifestyle where you're consistently in the limelight and people are consistently just knocking at, you know, that you get berated in one area and you get put up on a pedestal in the other? And it's like, there is certain people in Hollywood that I think are absolutely amazing, and they've just done an abundance of good stuff, and they've kept themselves out the limelight, but they're very, very good people, and they deserve to be recognized, and they're hardly ever recognized. And then you've got these absolute morons that are put in situations and places, and they're recognized more, and they're seen as to be these amazing people, and they're complete idiots. So I don't agree with that. Oh, I see what we're doing. See, now he's just pulled out, and I don't know. I believe they're going to open the door and let me in. I hope so, because I believe that. I believe I just sit here and wait. Oh, he had a T. Yeah, he does. He's got a T700. What am I talking about? T600. He's not got a 660. He's got a T600. Good looking truck as well. He's a blue one as well. I'll show you real quick if I can do this. He's over there. That's a good looking Kenworth. Kenworth T600. It's a nice looking truck. I like that. I was talking to him. He was talking about the weather that's coming through. We got a really bad cold spell coming through, and we were talking about that. So we were talking about that. He just pulled out, and I believe that I pull in, and then I've got to back in somewhere in here, I suppose. I've got 7 hours and 52 minutes of my day left. I'm an hour into being on duty. On duty. But there's a lot of good people out there. There's actually more good people than there is bad people. It's just recognizing these good people. It's being able to see them. Is such, yeah, probably when I touch it, it messes up my volume and makes me sound like a complete wanker. But yeah, there's an abundance of really good people out there. There's channels, and I don't agree with everything they always say, because that's not how it works. They just give you an insight into something, and if you choose, you can go down that path and follow it a little more, and you can do some more investigative work. It's just that I feel that those that are supposed to be in charge and helping us and making us feel that we are recognised as a workforce and you know, we're doing good in the world, are doing nothing but ruining us. That you're not allowed to talk about anything anymore. So certain platforms won't let you. Useless is one of them. Useless likes to knock you back. They'll suppress your channels. Like I have never chosen. I did not choose this. This is not a channel. It's literally viewing for my beautiful parents, and my parents are awesome. My mum and dad are my heroes. My sister's my hero. It's like, my sister doesn't realise how much I adore her for taking care of my mum and dad the way she does, and herself, and everything around her. My sister will never recognise that she is just an absolute, she's a gem. My sister is a total queen, and she takes care of stuff, and I'm not there, and I'm over here, and I'm, you know, my mum and dad are back in the United Kingdom, obviously, and my sister's in the United Kingdom, and here's me floating around the United States of America with not a care in the world as such. And my sister just goes out of her way to take care of my mum and dad, as well as herself and everything around her. And my sister needs to recognise that she is an absolute queen. She's just amazing. And one day my sister will realise that she's worth everything, in every aspect, everything. And she doesn't get that recognition enough from certain people, and it's a shame that she doesn't get recognised for how feckin' awesome she is. And my mum and dad recognise that, and at times it's hard to put it across. And my sister, you know, will sometimes fight with my mum, and she'll even fight with my dad, you know, in respects, but it's not fighting in a way that makes you bad. It's fighting in a way that it's like, I love you to death, you silly bastard. So, you know, and it's like my mum, you know, my mum's awesome. My mum at times will have her ways, and that's my mum, and that's why I love my mum, because it's her peculiar ways, as people like to put it. You're very peculiar in your ways. Peculiar doesn't mean it's wrong or it's right. It peculiar just means that you do something in a manner that they don't do. So my mum has peculiar ways, and my dad has peculiar ways, but at the end of the day, my mum and dad, if I would not be here in the United States of America, sitting in front of a shipping door number 6, waiting to load pre-coat coils to go to Grand Island, Nebraska, if it wasn't for my mum and dad, I would not be here today. It was because of my mum and dad that I'm here today, and I'm able to enjoy this journey that I'm on, and I'm loving every minute of it. And I would not be here today if it was not for my mum and dad. They absolutely have stood beside each and every one of us to help us see ourselves for what potential we have. My dad taught me so much of this industry that I had a good start of knowledge, and I progressively moved on from that with other people teaching me as time went on. But my dad is the one that started it. My dad showed me so much, and my dad was just amazing at this job. Amazing. My dad will always be my hero this side of my life in trucking. He showed me so much. He was very, 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 very good at his job. And on top of that, I met other good people that were very much like my dad. My mum was just amazing at being able to juggle the household and being married and taking care of kids. And my mum would take care of other people. Like, my mum would go out of her way to take care of other people and make sure they felt good about themselves, while at the same time those people would make my mum feel like shit, but my mum would go out of her way to take care of those people. And I watched that for so long. I watched as other people would shit all over my mum, but yet my mum would still take care of them, still make them feel good about themselves. And that was pretty amazing for me to see that. And that taught me about how to watch people. It taught me how to understand people. And that right there was a huge sort of advantage. She'll start in a minute. So, you know, my parents are just, they're fucking awesome. Do I just stay in the truck? Just stay.
No, I need you to spot me because I can't see the
Okay. I wasn't quite sure. I just wanted to make sure. My first time here, all right? I might leave it recording so you can hear me screaming. I'm going to leave it on duty for a minute. On duty. Is that all right? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you need that, don't you?
Yeah, I need to scan it 2 times. Alright.
That's all you need. Then I give this back to him when after I've strapped and tarped down, then I go back and see him, right?
Yeah.
I got you. I'll learn it, man. West Virginia's about the same way when I go there. So. Yeah. You they're all about the same way, though. It don't matter. It puts me where I need it to be. I'll show you in a minute. I'll leave it on one video and I'll show you in a minute where I'm at and how he loaded them. I spread them out a little bit. Some people like them right up close. I don't like them right up close. I like I like to have a bit of a spread in them. Good weekend, man. I appreciate you. I always believe that you always let somebody know how fucking awesome they are and what a good job they've done. Because there's nothing wrong with encouragement and letting know somebody that I appreciate you loading me, because without you I can't do my job. So without them they can't, without me they can't do their job. Well, without me, without them I can't do my job. So that's a hell of a turning circle. God damn. Sign does say no parking at any time, and it only takes one person to get at me, because I am Mark and Mark always gets himself into trouble. In circles. we go, nice and slow, round and around and around we go. What a lovely singing voice I don't have. I haven't sung in a while. I need to sing some more lovely tunes. Oh, I say, let's sing some lovely tunes. My old man's a Dutchman, yeah, where's the Dutchman's at? Hey, where's go blowing me trousers, and he lives in the kitchen flat. Yeah, I can hopefully be out the wind a little bit, so. I gotta find my white rag. I don't know what I did with it. Anyway, I'll show you what I got, then we'll go top down and then I'll have to do another video, blah, blah, blah. Here we go. It's my painted coils. It's just the same as Weirton, so it ain't no different. The wind's a little better here. I don't have it blowing me around, so he spaced them out. That's how I asked him to do it, because it spaces the weight out. Got them two pretty close in the center, and that's fine. And then he spaces the rest of them out, and that spreads the weight. A lot of people don't like doing that. They like to have them up against each other, because the argument is if they move, then they're going to fall over. But my argument is if you drive like a wanker, then they're going to fall over anyway, so that's on you. We all know that we drive for, not against, so. There we go. That's my beautiful hair as always, and there's me. I'm going to get ready to tarp down and yeah. I got Chief Chief's calling me. Oh my god, that's funny. Yeah, I gotta wait for Chief to go because he's like on the top of my screen. It's like I can see him because he's calling me and I'm not answering him because I'm busy. I might answer him in a minute when I get strapping down, we'll see. And then I'll end the call. Come on, Chief, go away. I don't want to talk to you at the moment. He's still on my screen. All right, I love you. I'll talk to you in a minute.